Hey, welcome back to episode number 25 of the Ask Sri Vishwanath Show. 25 is a great number. I'm really excited how this whole thing has progressed. I want to thank everyone who's watching this show, all these shows, and all the questions that you're asking. Thank you really very, very much. And in today's episode, we'll speak about the power of faith and how it can move mountains and can literally get you anything that you want, anything that you literally want.
You ask questions and I answer them. This is the Ask Sri Vishwanath Show.
Alright, so today's question is from Graham, and Graham from UK, and he asks, what is faith? Is it belief in the unknown or knowledge of the known? And the reason I picked this up because I found it very poetic. That is it belief in the unknown or knowledge of the known? In fact, it's both, or in fact more than that. So Vivekananda, he says, the right word for faith is Shraddha, and he says Shraddha cannot be defined. It is like the alchemist, the catalyst for realization. So you could say faith is the alchemist, the catalyst for realization, which is realization of God. And it's more like the seed. Everyone comes with that seed of faith. It's like the seed which we nurture, and as we nurture, it grows, and then we can feel its power and peace. And that's what great men and women did. When you could feel its power and peace as you nurture it, you're given the seed, and as you nurture it, you can feel its power and peace, and you want to take shelter into it. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he who nurtures these values, all the various values he had told to Arjuna, that means a consciousness who nurtures these values with supreme faith, knowing me, Krishna Paramatma, to be above all, he is dearest to me. So he who nurtures these values with supreme faith, knowing me, Krishna Paramatma, to be above all, he is dearest to me. So this is very important. So today, Graham, I'll share with you a very interesting story about faith, and I'm sure you'll like it. And this is a story of a mother and a little boy who was there. They were there in the dense forest, and the mother was doing certain things for living, very bad necessities they had. The child was about 5 years of age, and it was ready for him to go to school, and so they were in dire poverty. And she was doing basic minimum so that just they could have minimum to eat. And as this boy came of school age, his mother really wanted him to study so that he doesn't have to go through all that she's going. And so there was a school, but the school was on the other side of the forest. And it was a very dense forest, a very dangerous one. So her mother took that son the first day through the dense forest, and while and it was very dangerous. The boy was very afraid, but somehow she went. It was about an hour, I think, they walked through the forest, and while coming back also she accompanied him. But the child was very, very afraid, and he said, I will not go to school from tomorrow. I'm very afraid. And because from the next day the child had to go alone, because the mother had to do all the work, she could not afford to spend 2 hours. And the child said, I'm not going to go at all, because a small child, even an adult, would have been afraid. So her mother was a very ardent devotee of Krishna, and she said that you don't have to worry, you can call your brother Gopala, and he will accompany you to the forest. So whenever you are afraid, just call out Gopala, Gopala, and Gopala will come. He is your elder brother. And this little child just took the words of his mother as it is, and he did not question. He thought, wow, I have an elder brother, and he was very excited, and he said, all right. So he went to the school the next day, and was going through the dense forest, and again he was very afraid. Just by again he said, Gopala, Gopala, and no one came, and then he again said, Gopala, Gopala, and then suddenly from the bushes a very wonderful, charming, blue-eyed boy came called Gopala and said, yes, tell me what you want. And this blue-eyed Gopala was no one else but Krishna, and it was so amazing. And then they chatted. Now this little boy did not know that, so they chatted, and he was so excited. Oh, I have an elder brother, and they had, they talked for a lot of minutes, and then the Krishna accompanied him, Gopala accompanied him all the way till the end to the, to the school, and then while coming also I'll, accompany you. And so the child was very excited, and so while coming back also they chatted, they had a lot of fun, and so the little child came back home, and his mother said, and he narrated everything to his mother, saying, Gopala came to me, I'm really excited. And his mother thought, Gopala, and she fell down at the feet of Krishna and said, this is a miracle, how could this happen? She had just, out of the wild, just said that, though she had intense faith. And she was very happy. So a lot of days passed by, every day the child would go alone, and every day would meet Gopala, and so days passed by. And one day in the school, they had a feast, and every child had to bring a dish which could be served to about 100 people. Now, this boy came home to his mother and said, well, what is the dish you can prepare? And the mother was like crying because they did not have food even for 2 people. So how could they give food for 100 people? So his mother thought, well, why don't you ask Gopala? And so the boy said, oh, that's good. And so the next day, as he went through the forest, he called Gopala and he said, Gopala, I have this feast, today, can you help me with this food, because I have to give a dish for 100 people. And so Gopala, out of the blue, he came up with a pot of curd, a little pot of curd, just as little, to about 5 or 10 people. But and so the boy wondered, how would the 100 people be fed with this? But he said, well, something is better than nothing. And he thanked Gopala, and he went to the school. And every child had brought a lot of great dishes, very tasty, and everyone was being served. And this boy was like very shy, hiding his curd behind, pot of curd behind him. And the teacher took note of him and said, what is this? Come on, show it to me. And he said, curd, wow, that's great, let's serve it. And so they served for 10-15 people. And as they served, the curd started filling up. You see, they served 10 people, it started filling up. They served another 10, it started filling up. They served another 10, it started filling up. It would never end, and everyone was like, completely surprised, totally like it's a miracle. They could see that they are putting out curd and something is getting filled up. And so they called the boy and said, who gave you this pot of curd? And he said, my friend Gopala gave it. And so the teacher said, who is Gopala? He said, he's my friend, he is in the forest, and I know him for the last 1 month, he's my elder brother. And so the teacher said, what nonsense, and this is, how is this all, this is magic or something. So he said, I don't know, we can go and meet him. So the teacher said, okay. And so the teacher and all the, all the teachers and the principal, they went to the forest, and the boy took them to the forest, the place where he would meet Gopala. And he's called out, Gopala, Gopala, come, tell the teachers that you have given me this, because they are feeling suspicion upon me. And so he called Gopala, Gopala, but no one came. He again called Gopala, Gopala, no one came. And then he called many times, but Gopala, Krishna never came. And the teachers and all the teachers, they started yelling at the child, saying, you're a fraud, from tomorrow don't come, you're like just fooling us, wasting our time, and all that thing. And Gopala was, down to tears, and was literally crying. And as the teachers were about to leave that place, a voice was heard. And the voice said, Gopala, your mother's love and your faith brought me to thee. But tell these teachers they will have to wait a long time to see thee. You see, the voice said, your mother's love, Gopala, and your faith brought me to thee. But tell these teachers they have to wait a long time to see thee. And so that is the power of faith. You know, Krishna and Christ and all the great teachers, like, to have the vision of these, you need to nurture that faith. You need to have the faith of Gopala, the faith of the little child, and the intense love of the mother, the combination of knowledge, devotion, work. And when you have that, faith blossoms into realization, and that's when all the magic happens. And like the little child who could literally, his fear disappeared, he could get everything that he wanted, the bowl of curd, which was just refreshing as much, and literally anything he could get just by calling out Gopala, Gopala. So I hope that answered your question, Graham. You keep asking questions and I keep answering them.